One thing you don't want to miss happening on the 7th of July is the University of the West Indies Garden Party, La Fiesta In Giardino 2024. Very excited for this event, not to be missed. And joining us in studio this morning is Dr. Diedre Charles, Director of the Board and the Division of Student Services and Development of the University of the West Indies. Good morning, Doctor, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's nice being here again.
I love the fact your outfit is brightening up our morning as well.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. And thanks for bringing this conversation to the fore, especially because this is something that is not going to be missed. And speaking about things that aren't supposed to be missed, one of the things that was never missed was the UWI Fete. And we see, of course, that that was removed from the calendar. Can you share with us why that decision was made?
Okay. I would like to use the word transition.
Transition. Okay.
So we've transitioned to the garden party. Well, we started all-inclusive fetes at the UWI 34 years ago. And 34 years in, we have found that the environment of carnival and carnival fetes is now, when we started, it was 1, 2 all-inclusive fetes.
Right.
Now there are 100 plus all-inclusive fetes. And the disposable income of the population has decreased because, of course, of global economies. So we decided to look at the whole product based on a SWOT analysis. We also did a comparative analysis from the first garden party to the last UWI Fete. And, of course, innovation. We have to innovate and change the landscape. Since we came up with the all-inclusive, we need to come up with something different. So based on that, being strategists as we are, we decided to move away from the carnival scene and go to a mid-year event called the Garden Party. So that's the reason why we
So we're setting a trend now. We're seeing possibly this means within the next, let's say, 3 to 7 years, we're going to start to see mid-year parties happening.
Exactly. That's the idea, yes.
And especially at this caliber as well, what would you say makes the garden party different to the Fete, aside from, of course, the time?
The time. This party is very different in the sense that the concentration of the music will not only be soca, and apart from your garden party, right? There'll be an infusion of jazz, chutney, soca, silpan. So that vibe will be different as opposed to a full soca fete. That is why we call it a party. So you come and you groove to some jazz, and you groove, let's say, to some lovely soca, not only current, but also past top soca tunes as well. And of course, there'll be the UWI steel. And so you have this various genres of music, and the ambience, of course, will be it's a different spot at the UWI. And of course, to differentiate the products. So this new product will be an exciting one.
Definitely an experience that is second to none. So one can only imagine what this one is going to be like happening this year in July. As you said, grooving to music. Are we going to be grooving to live music?
We are. We're going to be grooving to the likes of Vonette and also the All Stars. And that's just
giving us a taste.
That's right.
Well, we appreciate just that little teaser because we already know this is a phenomenal event not to be missed. But we also know, aside from having a wonderful time as patrons, there is a lot more behind the initiative for the garden party. So similar to the University of the West Indies Fete, we were looking at raising funds. Tell us a little bit about that initiative and how it's married to the garden party.
Okay, so the cause remains the same. We're always about raising funds for our students. So the UWI has committed to raising funds through a number of fundraising activities. And of course, the garden party is one. So let me explain that cause. We have students that come to the University of the West Indies that really can't even eat. And we want to ensure that these students have the opportunity to finish their degrees and add a positive contribution to the labor force, not only in Trinidad, but across the region. So I'm going to speak to you about a very simple example. We have a student who is ADHD, who is also autistic, and she lives in a single parent home, and she comes with very limited resources to do her courses. And there are days when she has to make the decision between eating and traveling. So when she said to her friends and they're wondering, well, why are you not eating? And she said, well, I'm not hungry. Is on that particular day, she made the choice to leave the money to travel. So based on that, we are driven by that, and we are driven by the fact that these students need support. So these are the reasons why we put on the garden party. We had just had an Ignite concert, and we have a golf challenge coming up. And the only objective is providing financial support. And all proceeds, that's another way we differ from the carnival parties and other parties. All proceeds are converted into bursaries and scholarships. So that is the purpose for this fete. So it's almost double whammy.
Yeah.
You come to have a good time, experience premium drinks, lovely company, lovely music. But when you leave, you also know what you have spent on this event is now actually helping a student.
And that's something that is so moving, particularly as well, because the amount of students that go through that on a daily basis, and we carry on. So it's good to hear that, which now takes me to a different part of this conversation, which is for those who may be interested in perhaps donating outside of going to enjoy an event. Where can they get more information?
Definitely at the UWI. This is where the secretariat is for the UWI Endowment Fund. And there's an office that there's a telephone number, I can tell it to you now, 730-6489, that they could engage the secretariat, and there are multiple ways that we could show them how they could contribute to this important cause.
Wonderful. So, of course, one of the ways we're going to contribute is also by enjoying ourselves and going to the garden party on the 7th of July. So where can we get more information, and how much are these tickets?
Okay, let's start with how much are these tickets. The tickets are $1,200, and it is different from the last garden party for a number of reasons. First of all, it's charity.
Of course.
So we're looking to increase the number of scholarships we get, and for those we give, we want to increase the value of the scholarship because of inflation. So that's the first thing, is charity. You're going to get an exclusive experience. It's going to be premium, of course, and the price of goods and services have quadrupled over the last 2 years. So this is the price that we put to the event, and the patrons will definitely get the value for the $1,200. Having said that, there are a number of places they could go. There's a Facebook page, and it is UWI Fete, the garden party. There are two accounts for IG. There is the UWI Fete STA, which is St. Augustine campus, and there's the UWI_STA. And there's also, of course, you could call, and the Student Administration Building at the UWI.
Great. And I mean, this is, let's not say ticket prices, it's really more of a contribution to a very worthy cause. And with so much that you receive in return, you mentioned the live music. We're looking at the likes of All Stars, Vaughnette, Bigford, and this is just a taste.
This is
I know there's definitely going to be some more. And of course, you said a premium event, so we're looking at refreshments, eats, and so much.
Food, excellent food and drinks, you know, the best.
The best of the best, and definitely trend-setting as well.
Of course, of course.
Dr. Charles, thank you so much for joining us. Have an excellent day.
Thank you for having me, and you too. Enjoy your day.
It's a pleasure. Looking forward to having you back again soon, and looking forward to this garden party, because it will definitely be one to remember.
You should all come. You should all come. Excellent event.
Dr. Diedre Charles, Director of the Board and Division of Student Services and Development of the University of the West Indies, sharing with us a garden party happening on July the 7th is definitely going towards a worthy cause for the future. Stay tuned, because the Now Morning Show isn't finished, and we have something coming up that you do not want to miss. We'll be back.